Hi, everybody. This is Leslie, and this is Lunch with Live Animals. Welcome. It's winter, and do you ever stop to think about what the animals do when it's cold out? In particular, the small animals, the little short ones like this who are only a couple of inches off the ground. What do they do when it gets cold? Now, a lot of people don't realize, for example, this is the California desert tortoise, and a lot of people don't realize that it actually gets cold in the desert. It does, it freezes in the desert. But yeah, it's also 120 degrees sometimes and higher in the summer. So where can a little shorty like this get shelter from the weather, do you suppose? Now, don't say her shell. I know you were going to say it. Just kidding. A lot of people think they take shelter in their shell, but they don't. Take a look here inside of a turtle's shell. What do you see? It's bones, isn't it? Okay, that's the spine, that's the ribs. Feel that. Spine, ribs, feel that on your own body. Do your ribs keep you warm? No, they don't. Somebody, oh, I see, yep, we have an answer here. It's the burrow. That's where they go to find shelter from the bad weather. Got a picture of one here for you, actually. This burrow is really cute. If you ever see this sort of half moon shape in the desert, that's probably the tortoise's burrow. Now, that burrow is really important to give them some stability, okay? They need to keep their body temperature even, just like we do. Now, our body temperature stays what, 98.6, pretty much year round. What do you have to do to keep your body temperature the same? Not pretty much, I mean literally, like precisely, we have to keep our body temperature the same. What do we do? Nothing. Our body does it itself, okay? Generally, putting in food, eating a sandwich, okay, is what keeps you warm. So when we put energy into our body, that's generally spent on keeping our body temperature the same. You might not have known that. Turtles and tortoises, other reptiles, they can't do that. They have to go someplace. Can you hear her crunching, by the way? It's really cute. They have to go someplace to find the temperature they need. If they're too hot, they go down into the burrow to cool off. It can be 30 degrees cooler down there. If they're too cold, they can't freeze. They can range a little bit in temperature, unlike us. You know, we range, we get sick. They can range a little bit, but if they get too cold, they're going to be sleeping down in the burrow. Now, what's so great about this burrow? Anyway, it's actually quite cozy down there. It's kind of hard for me to find videos and pictures of a California desert tortoise burrow, but I have a little video clip of a gopher tortoise. They're from Florida, and it's a different species, but it's the same principle, okay? So David Attenborough made this little ROV robot camera that goes down after the tortoise. Isn't that adorable? So now we're down there, we're tortoises down in the burrow, and you're gonna notice there's other animals down here too. Lots of animals take shelter in a tortoise burrow. No worries, that rattlesnake is no danger to the tortoise. In fact, you're gonna see the tortoise being so clumsy that he shoves the rattlesnake back out of the hole. He's like, ugh, get him off of me, he's so clumsy. I think that's really cute. So there's other animals down there too. Tortoises are an extremely important part of the ecosystem. They provide shelter for other animals down there. Lots of different animals. So when you're pretending to be a tortoise at home and you're digging down under the pillows, make sure you bring other animals with you, okay? So what's going on down there when they're in this cold burrow? Because it doesn't, you know, it's not warm enough for them to be active. It'll be about 50 degrees, which is too cold for a reptile. So what's going on? You're the tortoise, okay? You're living off stored body fat. You might not have eaten since summer. Now it's November, December, January, February, even some of March. They are not eating, living off of body fat, recycling water, which I'll tell you about in a minute, reusing the water in their body, and not even peeing. I'll explain that in a second too. It's really incredible. So what they've done is they're hibernating. They're on pause, the whole body pause. Heart rate slows down, metabolism slows down. Everything slows down. You're living off of fat. Now, even if it got warm enough, they could go up if it was warm and go check it out, but it's probably going to be mostly dry grass up there. Not particularly delicious. In fact, that grass is invasive grass. It's not very nutritious either. So what he's going to do is wait until March. March is going to be a smorgasbord. It's a party in the desert because the rains came and it brought flowers and all sorts of green stuff. There is so much delicious food there. In fact, there's so much delicious food, you are going to pig out, you tortoises. You're going to pig out and you're going to eat every bit of green stuff that you can. Look at the face of that tortoise on the right. He's got green lipstick on his face. The tortoise on the top has got pink lipstick because he happened to find some prickly pears, some tunas. So very lucky guys there. They had a good year. It's only green about every other year in the Mojave. So they're not eating, okay? They are getting all their water for the year, basically from all that food you saw. They pack in so much fat, and in fact, even they pack in water from all that food. This 5-gallon jug represents the amount of water I would have to drink to be like a tortoise. It's 30% of their body weight. They carry around in water in their bladder like a canteen, like a water bottle, and they reabsorb the water from the bladder walls. Isn't that incredible? They take it all in at once, basically, in the spring, and they spend that fat, they spend that water. Well, actually, they don't spend the water. They recycle the water for the rest of the year. Think about this. This is nutritional stress, basically. You know, we take in food for breakfast, we spend it at lunch and dinner, and then we rest at night. Well, tortoises, breakfast is spring. And they basically don't eat a lot again until the next spring. The spring, they spend it all year long, and the rest of the year is resting, waiting, nibbling when you can, trying to survive. And remember I said they don't pee? They're recycling that water. They can't risk losing the water. Did you know that peeing is healthy for you? It's important. It flushes out salts. It flushes out chemicals. And they're not doing that. They live with concentrations of salt and chemicals, with osmotic imbalance, to the extent that it would kill any mammal, any bird, most any other reptile, okay? They can take osmotic concentrations of 200% increase. We get sick around 4% increase in the salts. Camels can take 40%, 200%. They are incredible, tough little guys. Now, when the rains come in the fall, that's another time when they can get water, and they actually drink at that time. This is a cute picture of a tortoise coming to get any bit of water they can. And this is bananas, you guys. They actually know when it's going to rain. They scrape out a little depression in the soil, or they know where to go get it. That's when they will finally drink, and they will flush out all of those salts and try to get themselves balanced again. These guys are incredible. Okay, next animal I have for you is a pond turtle. I'm going to turn the camera here so that you can see my friend. There we go. We got Vanilla down here waiting in her tub. There we go. You can see my friend, Beulah. Let's make sure she's on there perfectly. Okay, I think that's good. Beulah, the red-eared slider. Now, the pond turtles have a slightly different tactic. They head for the water, at least many of them do, especially the ones where the climate freezes, like her. They head for deep water. Now, what do you mean freezes, Leslie? How can they survive going under ice? They actually like this. So this next picture shows you a huge snapping turtle under the ice. Isn't that incredible? A man named Jonathan put this up. I'm sorry, I lost his name. Jonathan put this up, sitting on over the top of a huge snapping turtle under the ice. He's not frozen there. He's okay. He's actually wants to be down there because water is surprisingly stable, believe it or not. Now, the top might freeze, but down below is pretty stable. I've got a little bit of snacks here for Beulah while I talk. I've got some worms. All right. So what's happening down there under the water? I got a really dreamy little video for you to watch. You can imagine what it's like to be a pond turtle under the ice in this little video. This was a really cool, another remote Really cool. Jonathan Bolte put this up, another remote camera, watching turtles asleep under the ice. Do you see the turtle coming up in the center there? He's actually awake, sort of, but he's in a deep, deep sleep. I think he thinks he's running away because you can see it looks like he's trying to move, but he's in slow motion because it's so cold down there. And then you fly through and you see some other pals behind him, conked out, asleep. Hibernation is like a deep, deep sleep. I just love this video. I watched that a bunch of times. I think it's really dreamy. I wish I could be down there. So it's like a deep sleep for them, very similar to the tortoises, okay? It's a whole body pause. Everything slows down. Again, metabolism, and their heart might only beat 1 or 2 times every 10 minutes. That's how slow they are. But as you saw, they're alive and they're basically awake, all right? So what's happening to their bodies? Remember, you got ice above you. Can you swim up and get yourself a breath? No, you cannot. So how do they get oxygen? Well, they do have increased lung capacity, but that only gets you a few minutes. It doesn't get you like months. They also can absorb oxygen from the water through their skin, kind of like gills. Gills are just loose skin with extra capillaries. Capillaries are the part of your circulation system that helps you get oxygen into your blood, all right? So they have extra capillaries in these loose, filamentous, sometimes bumpy. I'm gonna call them, I'll tell you what they're called. They're called papillae. I'm not gonna use the word gills. I'm gonna call papillae. Papillae is the sort of lumpy or stringy skin parts that have the extra capillaries, okay? So they have these papillae in their throat sometimes, in their armpit sometimes, even in their back door, in their cloaca, in their hind end sometimes. It's pretty cool. It depends on their lifestyle, how much they need to breathe with those papillae to get the oxygen through their bodies. Now, some people think when they see turtles with their mouth open underwater, like this next picture, that they're smiling. That one's actually probably biting at something, but a lot of times when their mouth is open under the water, they're actually breathing. And this little video I've got here of Poppy, the western pond turtle, shows you her opening and closing her mouth. She's pumping the water past her papillae. It's called bucopharyngeal pumping. It's a fun word, bucopharyngeal pumping. And there she is taking a real breath. You can see her throat puffing out. She's taking a breath of oxygen, straight air, okay? Big difference, right? So it's kind of cool that they can do this. And like I said, depending on their lifestyle, tells you how much they need to do it. The Fitzroy River turtle, for example, gets about 70% of their oxygen through their hind end. Here's a picture. Did you think you'd be looking at turtle tushes today? Stick with me, kids. I will show you the world. That is a turtle getting oxygen through its butt. You heard me. Its cloaca is the better word. So like I said, that's a turtle that spends a lot of time underwater. That's its lifestyle. Not every turtle can do that. It just really varies depending on what they need. Here's the cool thing though. I want you to think about this. They're not getting very much oxygen. They're not getting 100% of their normal amount of oxygen. So how do they survive that? Did you know that without breathing, you build up lactic acid in your body? Like that's why it's important when you exercise to breathe well, because you'll get sore muscles, right? The lactic acid makes you sore and uncomfortable. But if you're not breathing for a really long time, say you're a turtle, it could kill the turtle, that lactic acid buildup. Well, you know how they fight that? I wouldn't bring it up if there wasn't some cool way to fight the lactic acid that could kill them. Lactic acid, like any acid, can be balanced with a base, a neutral, like calcium carbonate, okay? Stick with me. Calcium carbonate is found in bones, okay? And what did I say is the biggest bone on a turtle? What do we talk about? Is their bones? The shell. The shell provides for the animals like the painted turtle, who can spend 5 months down there. They can go without air for longer than any air-breathing vertebrate we know of. And that big, beefy shell of theirs is what's helping. They get the calcium from that shell, from their bones, to help buffer the lactic acid. Isn't that incredible? So they've got all these fancy ways to take up extra oxygen, a way to live without oxygen. They blow my mind. They just blow my mind. I love them. Now, of course, at the end of hibernation, they're really sore from all the lactic acid that they're battling. So they do come up and bask in the warm. And this last picture is a really cute turtles basking in the sun, stretching out their feet so they can get extra sun to their bodies. I think I have that picture. If not, it's okay. Oh well. Justine is helping me with the photos. I think I might have forgotten. Anyway, I thank you so much for joining me. I want to say thank you to Justine back there for helping me with doing the photos while we talk. And I really hope you guys had a good time. I sure did.
Thanks, Leslie. And don't forget, guys, you can comment directly on this post and we will get answers to all those questions that you
don't
guys
forget,
might
you can
have.
also go to our Instagram account at NHMLA_live animals. We'll have this video. And if you have any questions as you go along, you can type them in there and we'll try to answer them for you. Thanks for joining us.